Our next case this morning is People of the State of Michigan versus Colby, Craig, Paul, Neil. File number is 25-14140FH. Appearances, please.
Joanna Carey for the people.
And I'm Jeff Harrison. I'm here on behalf of Mr. O'Neill. He's joining me at the table.
Thank you. Mr. O'Neill is currently in pretrial custody and has been brought here. Also this morning, I have Mr. Sean Benatmo. He's from the Michigan Department of Corrections to prepare today's pre-sentence investigation report. We're here today for sentencing after a plea was taken on December 12th, 2025. The conviction was for possession of a narcotic cocaine in an amount of more than 25 but less than 50 grams of cocaine as a second or subsequent drug offender. Ms. Carey, any amendments, corrections, or objections to make to the contents of the pre-sentence investigation report?
No, thank you.
Mr. Harrison, same question, sir.
Well, we have some troubling information to update. Let me get the page numbers in regard to his medical condition. On page 2 of page 284A.
I'm there.
It indicates in the penultimate line of this third full paragraph, life expectancy is 2 to 11 years. Unfortunately, that's more like 2 to 4 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ms. Carey, anything to add there?
No.
All right, we'll go ahead and make that change. Mr. Harrison, anything else?
What was that? I think the rest of it, I think we can handle through allocution.
All right, thank you. All right, allocution, Mr. Harrison.
Well, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Let's talk about the number, the amount, the length. I anticipated that was going to be of some degree of concern to the court, and it probably should be. Normally, you would have a situation like this. The court's perspective would be that this person was bringing this poison into our community, distribution to other people, et cetera, et cetera. That simply is just not the case here, despite the large amount of cocaine found on him, with him that day in the car. He was an exceptionally heavy user. So it's easy to look at the medical information, particularly the stuff that we just talked about, and say, well, this is a person who's completely given up due to having a terminal illness and has decided to ride out the rest of the time that he has on this planet in a drug-induced haze. I think that would be fair for someone to say that didn't have the perspective that is somewhat shown in the PSI and is well known to me. What is well known to me is that he's actively participated with Catholic Human Services in the jail and has attended AA and NA sessions as they were available. Most of them were NA. And he's completed the CH Catholic Human Services programming while in the jail. As the court can see in front of him, he has a vast amount of the little slips of paper as well as the certificates of completion for all of those programs. Now, what does that mean? What that means is that Colby is determined to do what he can to leave his mark behind when and if he does meet his maker, whether it's in the near future or a couple of years from now. He has mentored young people. I got a letter from a woman named Olivia who basically said that Colby is such an inspiration due to his perspective and outlook on life and positivity that she can't imagine that he was terminally ill at the time that he spoke with her, because she didn't know that at the time. That is typical of the conversations that I have had with people that know Mr. O'Neill. No, that is not to say he doesn't have a drug problem. Clearly he does. Clearly a significant drug problem, especially in light of the fact that there's still a pending probation violation in front of Judge Mertz in Otsego County. Has that been resolved? Not the least of which was the amount of product he had with him here and his massive amount of daily consumption of that product. Pleased to say he has a different perspective. I'm pleased to say that he's decided not to go out in a blaze of glory, if you will, Your Honor, but to exert a positive influence on the people in and around his life. Now, the guidelines on this offense is 0 to 17. He has served 102 days in jail, and as the court is well aware, the recommendation is essentially for time served, perhaps a period of supervision thereafter. Colby welcomes a period of supervision because it will reinforce the plan that he already has to remain drug-free and to remain dedicated to preserving whatever time he has left with us. His cancer has metastasized, as set forth in the PSI, and the prognosis is not good, not positive. That's not to garner sympathy. That's not to garner leniency from the court. It's simply to make a statement here that I think is pretty compelling. He had really a couple of options of what to do. This offense, this incarceration, this whole process by which he's realized he spent 102 days in jail when he doesn't have that many days left, has really put a new spin on perspective of the world for Mr. Colby O'Neill. I would encourage the court to follow the recommendation. I would encourage the court to perhaps make inquiry of Mr. O'Neill with regard to his medical condition, if there are any unresolved issues there. I don't think there are, but there certainly could be. And at the end of the day, I think a period of probation is not only appropriate, I think it would be a good thing for all of the parties involved. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to ask the court to follow the recommendation for a period of incarceration. This is Mr. O'Neill's third conviction for the same behavior in less than 2 years. And he had 161.5 grams cocaine, which has a value of about, I just asked Mr. Van Eckno, about $16,000. That's a lot of personal use. And when he was pulled over, he told the officer that he was trying to make medical bills. Now it's interesting, the report, the PSI said that Was in remission until February of 2025. In December of this year, I spoke with the jail and got them updated. I asked for some information because I was considering his medical condition when I made the offer that I did, that he had been in remission since September 2nd, or on September 2nd. The information the jail had was that his leukemia was in remission. They had discussed continuing treatment with him because he's at a high risk of it coming back, and he declined that treatment.
I'm sorry, repeat that again?
He declined. He was in remission and declined. He's at high risk of it returning, so they wanted to give him some treatment, but he declined it.
Oh, okay.
And he wished to discontinue all treatment and therapy. And whether he's changed his mind, I don't know, but in September, that was the information. And I got that from the jail in December. That was the last information they had, and he had been, according to what I was told by the jail, seen by medical personnel there, because they were aware of his conditions. So I think what we have here is a person that is fairly reckless and is not taking his health into consideration. I think he is transporting and was delivering or selling or somehow involved in that, and using personal, because he was, when he was pulled over, he also had showed signs of use of cocaine. So we have someone in the last 2 years that's been in trouble for this. His wake-up call should have been the first time, but it wasn't. So I am going to ask for a period of incarceration, and for as long as the court can, under his guidelines. Thank you.
One moment. All right. Mr. O'Neill, is there anything you wish to say at this time?
Yes, Your Honor. I've had a couple of really rough years. I realize the court's aware of that. I was incarcerated last year in Otsego in February when I found out that I wasn't in remission anymore. The jail, when they were working with me, was working to do my tests on my liver for my necrosis and for my hepatitis B, for my tenofovir medicine. In September, when I was using heavily, and I have been using heavily, I was self-medicating. It's not the right thing, and I realized that. I was going through a series of tests. I just got done with the spinal taps from mass stations. Here that it was going into my spine. I have a 25% chance of survival at this point in life. If I go through a bone marrow transplant, because I did deny it, she is correct, that leaves me at a 50% chance for graft host disease. I'm very familiar with this. It's basically where the stem cells either take or don't take in my body, and if they don't, then I'm on medication for the rest of my life that helps that. But I also have a 50% chance of my vital organs failing, my heart, my lungs, my livers, and thus my percentage goes down even further. So it's a very big gamble on my own life to go through with the bone marrow transplant at this point.
But it's okay to use cocaine?
No, it's not.
Okay. Is it okay to drive to Udall Hills?
No.
Out in the middle of the woods and then bring it, and then of course have your cell phone taken by the agents, and apparently according to this, it's detected that there were sales and transfers going on. And you also said that you were, yeah, I noticed you, because I know where Udall Hills is. I ride my mountain bike out there 12 times a summer. So if you live in Kalkaska where you could have gone up 37 or 31, whatever, or 37 or 31, you were coming through Cadillac. And then you were up in Manton and you weren't on a major road at the time. Well, it was a 16 road, I think.
42.
42, yeah, yeah. All right, but anyways, keep going.
No, it does not excuse my usage at all.
No, it doesn't make me think that you care about it too much either.
I care very dearly about my sobriety at this point.
But you also violated bond by testing positive for cocaine too.
This is correct, Your Honor. I'm not denying that I had an addiction.
Yeah.
I've been going through my Catholic Human Services. I've completed 2 other courses. I keep going and attending courses. I keep going to my AAs, my NAs. I've talked with Catherine about becoming a peer support at this point, working with CHS myself, which is something that I very much would like to take my time to do, is to help other people realize, there's a better course out there. My actions have definitely stunted my life. I used to think to myself, I'm dying, what wouldn't you do? But now I think to myself, what wouldn't I do? I wouldn't give up the time that I have, not to spend with my daughter to fix my van for her to travel around the country as she wants to, working for the Parks and Recreation. I wouldn't give up the time to spend with my dog before she dies. I want to give up the time with my 15-year-old son to watch him grow. I want to give up the time that I have left, which is finite, to sit in either the county or in the prison system where I'm doing no positive anymore. I understand that what my actions have caused. And
You haven't been doing positive out here so far. How much was that stuff worth, Mr. Bennett?
I was told it's approximately $100 a gram, so about 16,000.
So let's say it's even half of that. One of the first things you said to the agents or the officers when they pulled you over is, oh my gosh, my medical bills are $750,000.
I was using definitely in duress at the time and using that as a sarcastic humor. It was taken very not lightly, and I can't change the fact that I said that.
All right, folks, let's pause here for a sec. This is where things start to get heavy. Kobe's being sentenced for possession of a serious amount of cocaine as a repeat offender. For those unfamiliar, the court is essentially considering both the size of the offense and his criminal history, which means the stakes are way higher than your typical possession case. Keep your eyes on how the judge weighs his medical condition versus the law. It's about to get tense.
Yeah, but you're willing to, and you're something about helping your daughter on a vehicle? What was this about?
No, these are things that I won't be able to do.
Right, well, using anywhere from $8,000 to $16,000 on your cocaine habit, if it's just a habit and you're not using to pay for, you're not selling it, which by the way, the evidence suggests that you are. You can see I'm not really buying a lot of what you're saying today, other than your health issues. I'll accept that. I don't have any records telling me all that, but I'll accept it. So anything else, sir?
No, Your Honor, I'm at your mercy.
Well, I feel really bad for you on your health issues, but I'm not going to let that cloud my sentence today. Because you did. Everybody else here seems to gives more of a deal or more of a care about your health issues than you do. So I'm not going to. Sorry. If you don't want to take the treatments, don't get the treatment. If you don't want to go get help from addiction, don't get help. If you want to go out there and try to tell people that you're able to spend $15,000, $16,000 on cocaine out in Udell Hills. By the way, if no one knows where it's at, it's out past Wellston. It's out in the middle of nowhere. It's out by Big M. No. Cocaine's on the rise in this community, and I think you're dealing it. And I'm going to tell you, anyone who is dealing drugs in this county, in this area, needs to go to prison. So, you had 5.7 ounces. Breaks down to 161 grams. When I look at CFJ 284A, page 5, When asked if he was trying to make more money, the defendant said, quote, "It's me, just, moving one thing to another. I came from a place on Udall Hills in the woods, but it's not where I was going with this." I can't make hide or tail of that. Now, by the way, I have no idea why you weren't charged with operating under the influence. Should have been. Why? Because you even said, "I'm likely to test positive." One moment. So I'm going to go back and review this a little bit more thoroughly. A lot of this report was spent talking about your health issues, and I'm very, very sorry to hear about them. But I'm not going to give any more care or concern to them than what I've seen here from you, because I see that you have just tossed in the towel. You violated my bond by testing positive for meth. You're 42 years of age. You should know better. You traveled all the way down from Kalkaska down to Udall Hills, which is west, again, as I said, west of Wellston. Actually, that would be over in Manistee County, actually, by that point in time. So you travel from Manistee County through Wexford County, potentially on your way to Kalkaska County. It's definitely indications that you are transporting a large amount. I think there's definitely evidence that you intended to sell, which means you had a possession with intent to distribute. And why? Because of the information contained here in the report that says extraction of your cell phone, quote, "revealed several messages to and from the defendant indicative of drug sales." So here is a person dying from cancer who decides to throw in the towel, use it a lot, and according to this, by preponderance of the evidence, distribute it and poison other people. Yeah, you may have snowballed, and that's kind of an ironic choice of words. Everybody else, not me. So 5.7 ounces. Oh my gosh. Kind of makes me wonder where you got the $16,000. Now, I'm not here to ask a lot of questions. And by the way, I would have scored an extra 13 points. I would have scored them additional points in OV 13. Why? It's a pattern of 3 or more acts of felonies. You had this felony or prior to the other felony, and then you had a use, but that use could have been considered a possession, which could have also been a third felony. So you would have scored even higher points. You've already maxed out your offense variable points. And you were on parole or probation or parole for exactly the same thing. Now here's something else. I look back in your criminal history, and I know you have a 10-year gap, which means some of these things aren't counted on your guideline scoring, but you have this tendency to do what you want when you think no one's going to get away. You're going to get away with it. You're not going to get caught. I look at these little offenses: driving license suspended. You had what, I think 6 of them. You don't care if you got a rule that you're not supposed to. You're going to do it if you want. You had a handful of these, a couple no insurances, putting people at risk. And then you start getting into marijuana in 2011. You picked up another drug case in 2019, but because you had a diversion program and you successfully completed that, that was dismissed, but sure enough, it's a drug case. Then you pick up another drug case a couple of years later in 2024. This is the one where you pled to a use, but it could have been a possession. You can't use without possessing. So that would have been your 3rd felony in a row here. You made it 4 months later and you pick up another cocaine case. And then after that case was done, you picked up, or what, after your sentence, you made it 5 months here. And after you were released on bond, you made it about a month. You are a danger to yourself. You don't care about your health issues, or maybe you do, but you toss in the towel. And maybe you want to spend time with your daughter or your son. You can't do it if you're high, and you can't do it if you're spending all your money. Cocaine. Now let's take a look here at something, because when I look about this month, the value of the cocaine, I'm gonna look at your history of employment. I want to know, where are you getting your money to pay for your cocaine? What was his last job, Mr. Van Etmel? Wasn't it at a hotel?
He ran a food truck, and he said several jobs as a chef.
Okay, when was the last time he was employed? On a regular basis, not just for a month or so, regular basis. Probably would have been in his last PSI. I'm going to look at his employment history. He's been on Social Security disability since 2021. He's been living on disability, and he receives $1,280 a month.
In addition to that, he reported operating a food truck.
But it says here that it started in 2015. All right, but that ended in 2023 because he got a new job, but I don't know what the new job is because it's not listed on here. And plus, he's no idea where he's getting his $16,000 worth of money, or he's dealing. Where'd you get the drugs in Udall Hills?
I didn't get the drugs in Utah Hills, Your Honor.
Oh, what were you out in Udall Hills doing?
I was visiting a friend out there. There's a,
Why, it says you were moving it. You were moving from one place to another.
I'm traveling, yes.
All right. Well, let me also take another look here.
And if I can speak to my employment.
Yeah.
I own 2 different food truck companies.
Okay.
The one that stopped in 2023 was Uptown Dogs. I'd started the Mac Attack, which is a gourmet mac and cheese business. I operate here in Cadillac area as well as Traverse.
Okay. All right, well, let's take a look here also to stop. You lied to law enforcement 1, 2, 3, 4 times. I don't understand. I don't believe a word you're saying. You have a pattern of dishonesty. You lied here to the police several times. I don't believe really anything you've had to tell me today. Yes, definitely looks like you're distributing. Well, I don't want to have some relative. I only have a little bit of information, and that talks about the phone messages on CFJ 284A, page 5. So, plus an operating while under the influence. You are a danger to the community. You are a danger to yourself. Find that there are reasonable grounds for a period of confinement. I also find that there are reasons to support the sentence. By the way, it used to be that an intermediate sanction cell had a cap at 1 year. Then they changed it and said there is no more cap, but you have to have reasonable grounds. Once I find reasonable grounds, I'm no longer capped at 1 year. Court sentences the defendant as follows: $68 state minimum fee, $130 crime victims' right fund fee, a $300 court cost, since he can afford it, a $5,000 fine, a $300 attorney fee, Do we have the DNA or was it already available? I assume it was already available.
Correct.
No DNA fee. I'm not gonna place the defendant on a period of probation. Therefore, there's no probationary period. The court exercises its discretion to sentence the defendant as a second or subsequent drug offender. One moment. Which allows the court to double the sentencing guideline range. The maximum here is that 96, that's what the, is that what,
Enhancement.
that is with the enhancement?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so the court sentences the defendant within the doubling of the guideline range to a prison term of 24 to 96 months. And the defendant receives 102 days of credit. That is extremely within the guidelines and right, almost right there in the middle. I find that that sentence is reasonable proportion for the reasons and terms that I discussed. Thank you. Mr. Harrison's going to bring to Mr. O'Neill 2 copies of one document. He's going to place his initials, Mr. O'Neill, you will, on page 1. Doing so neither elects nor waives in your rights and merely acknowledges receipt of your copy of the document. This document tells you that you have the right to appeal the conviction and sentence in your case. That is typically done by filing a claim of right to appeal if you've been convicted at a trial. However, based upon the pleas in your case, any appeal must be done by filing an application for leave to appeal. If you choose to file an application for leave to appeal and you want the court to appoint an attorney to assist you, you may complete the bottom half of the document and return to the court within 42 days. If you choose not to appeal, you may simply dispose of your copy of the document. Also, somewhere in here, I'm hoping that you'll get clean, you'll stay clean, and maybe live longer. Anything else, Mr. Van Ettel? Ms. Carey?
No, okay.
Thank you.